Hoi hoi, it's louisity again, and for this video I'm going to be sharing you some books written by other Asian authors. Hoorah! So, without further ado, let's begin. So, the reason why I've thought about this video is because I know that next month it's going to be Asian Pride Month. So if you would like to know more books written by Asian authors, then I am hoping that this video can help you. So I decided to, just randomly thought of this is going to be a great video idea. I actually did one before, so I'll be linking it down below. So this is kind of like round 2. Cool. Anyway, let us begin with one of my 5-star reads in 2019, and that would be Rich People Problems by Kevin Kwan. Now this happens to be the last book in the Crazy Rich Asians trilogy, and I have a book review of it, which I'll be linking it down below, which also includes an overview of my overall feedback of the series. Now actually it's the overall feedback, y'all. But anyway, now this is the last story. It deals with, Nicholas Young being the possible heir of all his grandmother's fortunes, and he's sort of competing with his other relatives. And I was really amazed about this book. Basically, it's unpredictable. You thought that you're gonna be getting into this, and then you'll be I guess we all know what's gonna happen next. But no, it just takes you to different places. It's just really unpredictable. And I love the Philippine setting that was described in this book. So I definitely recommend you to read the series. Now, I said in some comments before that for some reason maybe you may opt to not read the series or the trilogy chronologically, but I think it would be helpful. But yeah, this has to be the best among the 3 in the Crazy Rich Asians trilogy. Cool. Anyway, the next book is written by a Filipino author, Bone Talk by Candy Gurley. So now this book, the one that I have here, is published by a Philippine publishing house, which is Anvil Publishing, and I read this during last year's Asian Readathon. Now it deals with some sort of a historical fiction during the American times, the American occupancy here in the Philippines, and they meet an indigenous tribe. And I have some sort of a mini review, an Asian Readathon wrap-up / collection of book reviews, which I'll be linking it down below. But overall, it's a fun read. There are maybe a little bit of imperfections, or it hasn't had that zing yet for me to make it a 5, but still, it's a 4.5, so it's still pretty high in my radar, in my book, in my judgment, whatever you want to call it. So I definitely recommend you folks read it if you folks want to read some historical fiction that is set up in a Philippine setting. Anyway, the next one that I'm going to be reading is from a South Korean author. I believe Hong Kong is South Korean, and that is The Vegetarian. Now this book follows a story of a woman who, after seeing a dream, she decided to be a vegetarian as soon as she meets her brother-in-law, gets into arts, and sort of have this sort of a paradigm shift of her wanting to turn into a plant. There's a T there, y'all, just in case you didn't catch that. Anyway, now the cool thing about this is it's very intriguing. It's one of those books that if you want something kind of deep, then you definitely gonna have to read it. I kind of, equate her vibes with Paulo Coelho, although I know that they're kind of not similar or really the same, they're different, but they do exude some thinking vibes, if that's what you call it. And definitely this isn't a book if you just want to read it or read something for pleasure, something that's just gonna make you feel light. It may be some sort of an escapism for some other folks. And throughout, but I'm very interested with like having, you know, radical or unusual kind of thinking, and that's what I got from this book, you know. So I definitely recommend The Vegetarian by Hong Kong. It is also included in my Asian Readathon wrap-up / collection of book reviews. Now, these next books are books that I read recently, and this next one is a middle grade fantasy that I really like. Just so you know, this author is half Indian and half Filipino. And now I'm talking about, let me grab it right here, Roshani Chakshi's Arusha and the End of Time. Now this is the first book in the Arusha series, or the Pandava Brothers series. And I read this recently and I have a book review about it, which I'll be linking it down below. I say that a lot. Well, that's the whole point where I create book reviews, you know, hoorah! Anyway, this follows the story of Aru, who is like skillful in terms of like, you know, getting away with things, and because of something, you know, lighting up a lamp, she enabled, you know, the, I would say here, it says here in the back. Okay, I read it, so I'm okay with revisiting it. So it kind of frees the sleeper. There you go. I was trying to think about the term, so I kind of searched it up here. So, pardon my brain. Anyway, yeah, but I still encourage you to read this one. It does give you some, you know, idea about Hindu mythology, and it's a very light read and very fun. You know, if you've been enjoying Percy Jackson series, I think you would enjoy this as well, and maybe if not, maybe you would still enjoy this as well. Kind of strange, but you know, it depends on your taste. And the cool thing about this book is that it did mention some like Filipino-ism or Philippine like mannerisms. I guess that is because, of course, Roshani Chakshi is half Filipino, and I really appreciate her like bringing those out, you know, aside from Minnie's and her Filipino side. I just love that being flourished out. So feel free to check out my book review if you want to hear my thoughts on this. And the last book that I read recently, and it is a contemporary novel, and I just filmed a book review on this one. And folks, you know this book, like a lot of you do. If not, then you know, probably haven't read it, just like me, who just read it recently, who reads, you know, hype books or popular books or new releases, like when they're no longer new releases or no longer hype, okay? And some of you may have watched the film about this book. So what film adaptation or what book am I talking about? I'm talking about To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. Now this follows the story of Laura Jean, who wrote 5 letters to all her crushes, and suddenly they get lost because somebody like got them and sent them to all those crushes, and now her secret is revealed, and the whole fake dating concept comes in here. So I really enjoyed it. I just filmed my book review, which I'll be linking it down below if I've already uploaded it. So it's like a fluffy read, especially if you are looking for reads that, you know, are just going to be light. You know, if you're going through something kind of dark and you just want to read something that would, you know, make like a polar opposite of it, I recommend you to read Jenny Han's To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Hoorah! Feel free to comment down below the books, you know, written by Asian authors that you enjoyed. I might be able to find recommendations. I would really appreciate it. So, and I definitely look forward to reading more books written by Asian authors. So your comments are really going to be appreciated. And I am piling up the books, so these are additional books rather, or since I filmed a Filipino and Asian authors or books written by them that I love. And yeah, these are the new ones that are going to be adding in that list, and this is like the second set. So hope you folks like love them. Let me just put them a bit closer to the camera. I hope that you're able to see them. I don't really have a viewfinder y'all. So, and I'm looking forward. I do still have some by Melissa de la Cruz and Maureen Gu, just to name a few that I remember. And I'm excited to read them. And I'm actually excited to read, you know, the Pandava Brothers series. So, I guess that's about it. If you folks like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, click that subscribe button and hit that little bell icon somewhere down there to keep yourselves posted about my videos. And I'll also be putting down the links and the handles of my social media accounts, so feel free to check me out and follow me there as well. As always, thank you super much for watching. Let us continue seeking for wisdom and unleash the reader in you. Bye y'all.